Blessings. Welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Today we're in Job, chapters 20 through 22. Just 3 chapters today, and it was a good read. I have to be honest and transparent. It's getting a little exhausting, as it does every year when I get to Job. This back and forth where they're answering each other's questions and they're arguing and they're making accusations. Um, just really kind of takes its toll on me, especially from the standpoint of these guys were probably his closest friends. If not, they wouldn't have spent all this time coming to be with him. And as we go along, we've got to remember they sat with him for 7 days in complete silence, and they most likely they prayed for Job. They may have tried to minister to him, wash and clean some of his sores, take care of him. And I truly believe that these guys meant well. But as Job answers them in the last couple of days we've seen, some of his answers seem to have been completely out of character for him, caught these guys completely off guard, and they became defensive and, and they start this argument and this series of accusations trying to get to the bottom of why Job is suffering the way he is. And there comes a point in time where God says, not God, Job says, look, this is between me and God. If I've sinned and God's punishing me, it's between us. God doesn't need you to come over here and throw accusations at me and try and figure out what it is. And I think as friends, we need to recognize that whenever we get into a situation where we're being called in as a counselor or maybe a chaplain or just being a friend to someone who's in need. When you go on the scene and someone is in just really tore up emotional, they're broken. This kind of gives us a picture of what we should do through what we shouldn't do. But at the same time, as you read and if you really take time to break down some of these verses, some of the things they're saying, some of these things are very true. Some of them are just false allegations, and you really have to kind of go through the weeds, and look for what's truth and what's just a crazy accusation. So again, from that standpoint, it can get a little exhausting as you move through this. But getting towards the end of verse 22, Job's basically, we've seen in yesterday's read where he says that God is still my redeemer. I believe in God's justice. He's still got that vertical vision and not the horizontal, not keeping his eyes on the circumstances, although it would be almost impossible with what he is dealing with in the moment. I cannot even imagine, but it just, for some reason, reminded me of this saying, and I tried to look it up on the internet, and I can't find where it came from, so I can't really give a good reference of who said it or where it came from, but here it is. And I'm probably not even saying it right, but I've always heard that at the end of the year, you can look back on the 12 months, and if there's any change in your life or any growth in your life, it can all be pointed back to, and it's all the result of two things: the people you spent your time with and the books that you read. Those are the things that shape and mold who you are. So throughout your years of your life, think about the people you've spent time with and the books that you've read, and see if they've shaped who you are today. So when I look back at Job in his life and where he is right now and the things that he said that have pointed to God, it makes me ask the question, what books, and ask yourself this question, what books have you read this year? Have you been reading God's Word? Because that will shape you. Who have you been spending your time with? How much time do you spend with God? Just talking to Him? Just in prayer as you're driving down the street? Just, hey, Lord, whatever's on your mind. Spend time with God. So and I believe Job is a guy who spent his time with God. He knows Him well. But I'm asking us the question, What do we read and who do we spend our time with? Because that's kind of where I see Job pointing, and I see his life where he is right now in these horrible circumstances, but they reflect what has come before him, and that's a relationship with God. And I take a lot of comfort in that, knowing that hopefully if I ever get in a, I don't ever want to be in one of these, but if I get in this kind of a situation, that my past relationship with God would sustain me and keep my focus on him. Anyway, you guys be safe. Tomorrow we're going to be in Job 23 through 28. Read up, come back tomorrow, and let's find a law enforcement takeaway from this read. Be safe.